Hello, welcome back to the channel BQuanchi here. It's the Stuff World of our podcast. So we have a very special podcast this week, but before I get started, I always like to say the best way to support me and the channel is to like, comment, and subscribe. You can do so on YouTube, on X, Twitter, and on Twitch. Even if you're listening on YouTube, go on Twitter. I have links in the bio and also in the description of the video. Just give me a follow if that's your thing. I would really appreciate it because I do a lot of gaming streams on Twitch, which get loaded back here to the same YouTube channel and other stuff, other videos and stuff that I've been working on. So I've been on a little bit on a break. I'm kind of a small tuber, so it doesn't matter too much. But typically in the beginning of the year, I'll take some vacation time, and I do backlog some uploads. There's also Let's Play uploads too, if that's your thing. I also want to talk about the channel as well, but I was on vacation, and like right before vacation, I got sick. I don't know if there's something going around. Like on New Year's, I just went to bed early, and then like a few days later, I was feeling much better by the time I had my vacation time start. But I always do this. I had a little bit coughing, but a lot of, I guess, congestion, and I don't know. I started to have this like sick voice, but it was like with a voice streaming just so I could have this voice recorded. But oh well. But yeah, that's things are getting back into the grind. And also I wanted to mention, it's not really much, but kind of doing a side channel, which is I guess they're not really boosting up or anything like that. It's just kind of like a dumping ground to put whatever uploads, kind of like shit posts or whatever. Because suppose I get recommended like Reddit's like the part of YouTube one. Even I'm not really much of a YouTuber, but I get concerned because I've seen some posts about like YouTube uh, removing um, monetization or removing the partner program because of reusing content or around those lines. And I saw on the one channel now in the 90s, they do a lot of like coverage on video games released in the 90s. But they got it back. But I see like sometimes I'm not sure if it's like an error or something. Like if it just like re-upload, reuse content because that's a big thing too, and all that. Especially if it's like directly uploading it or re-uploading it. I know like reaction YouTubers get a lot of that flack too, which I think a lot of times are deserved. Just not really reacting much. I know like Sniper Wolf is one of the big ones. I get a lot of that criticism and deservedly so. Um, so it's not some videos I did with compilations, but it's like just in case I don't want it to affect the main channel, and part of it doesn't really feel like it fits as much. Um, it's out there, so I'm not gonna like really promote it, but part of me like puts when if it will like circle back because I did put like a playlist in the that channel to kind of like point back to the main channel, but it's something to have fun with. But anyways, also what I want to talk about is just creating content in general because that's something I kind of wanted to talk about. And I'm not sure if others will relate, but I would say like part of the reason I do this as a hobby is kind of where I started with, dealing with depression and mental health stuff too. And I always like play games. I know that's a big part of the channel in terms of streams and uploads and stuff like that too. I feel like I don't know. It feels like sometimes you want that little hopes or dreams or whatever being an online creator. I don't know. I think just the idea of like, hey, I'm having these ideas or these thoughts, whether it's like reviewing, criticizing games or other things, or just like this dumb podcast, this dumb solo podcast. If it reaches somebody, if it's something, just kind of have that validation. And if I'm honest, income and success, like I would say, I know that a lot of people say like, "Hey, don't let that be your main motivator for like money, success, and stuff like that." When you're making content out there, whether it's art, whether it's music, or whatever, but it would be nice just to have something more. And again, that validation, like, "Hey, we hear you," or "Hey," like a lot of things I talk about is like video games and indie games. So I have a lot of like demos. I played the demos of indie games and I did throw stuff up like on shorts, like impressions of those demos or just reviews of games. I want to do more large reviews and stuff like that too. Because if I ever got that like feedback, like, "Hey, I checked out this game because you talked about it," or reviewed it, and I really like this game too, or I love this game because I discovered it from your channel. I think that would mean a lot more than just like AdSense money. And it's kind of hard, like to say that doesn't make a big influence to the monetary gain of it. And it's not much. Like I'll be honest, like you can look at the views of my channel. It's like not really much. Like I just looked at my year thing. It's like barely enough to make a car payment. Maybe a little bit more, but it's you know slow growth, like a tumor. But yeah, I like to see like even like with the Twitch. I'm not even affiliated. I did almost 250 streams, and I don't know. I would like to have that feedback because a lot of times I'm playing games that I never played before. I think I might want to do some more retro gaming, some more games to build with, just to mix it up. Because a lot of times it's my first impressions, first playthrough, and sometimes that can be a little awkward in the sense that, like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing in terms of like how to progress in the game. A lot of it's straightforward, like especially a lot of the indie games too. So I don't know. I always like that feedback, but I don't get it because no one watches, no one cares. But oh well. So I have this kind of things in my mind, but I feel like a lot of times with mental health too, because I feel like what I put out there isn't that great in a sense, especially because I've been having so many ideas of like different videos I want to make in terms of video games, like reviews and commentary. And a lot of it's like, hey, I want to talk about this game. Like, hey, have you heard about this game? Or hey, I just played this game and I have some thoughts about it, like thinking out loud. Maybe someone to discover it and think it's cool, maybe not. But I think a lot of it is that I feel like I'm kind of bad at it. Uh, I said before, like previous podcasts and stuff like that, that I grew up with a lot of like issues with speech and talking and stuff like that, like speech impediments and all that. And it's still a struggle. I think a lot of times if I like with my game reviews or commentaries, which I've been lacking on, I get a lot with the shorts though, but it feels like if I'm like on a script, like, hey, I'm planning out what I want to talk about, I just like almost like my brain defuses or whatever. I have so many bad takes, that like so much audio that I have to cut out. Versus when they're actually streaming or doing this done little solo podcast, it's not that big of a deal. I don't have to edit too much. Like maybe there's like pauses or um, coughs or burps or whatever and stuff like that. I try to keep it kind of organized, but a lot of times these podcasts and streams are kind of a stream of consciousness um, and stuff like that. Especially like with games and first impressions, or almost a little cathartic because there's some games that I like had in my backlog that I haven't played. Like for example, an older playthrough I did is Cuphead. Also recently beat Hollow Knight and Blasphemous, and it's really fun. Like, hey, I beat this game, and I'm like documenting it, even if it's just mostly for me or maybe a very few viewers, stuff like that. And you also get the things like there's people who like chime in the chat or on social media like X or Twitter and all that. Like, hey, I'm a graphic artist and stuff like that. Or like, hey, we can get you views, we can promote your channel, which isn't always a good thing. I'm not sure if it's like a multi-channel network, which is also bad. And also like, hey, you can buy views, which is also pretty bad as well. Yeah, I did kind of like get the motivation, like why I'm doing this, and it's a hobby, kind of like having something to do instead of just moping around. And I'm also not like saying like, hey, if you're depressed or upset or stuff, like, hey, make content online on YouTube, do a Twitch stream and stuff like that. Um, but I think in the always my main thought about it is like, hey, I'm just doing this for me. Even though, like I said, I would like some success, even monetary gain. But it's like, hey, in the end of the day, if it gets me more talking in a microphone and that helps with my speech, um, how I articulate my thoughts and stuff like that too. I feel like that helps. But it's natural, like you say, like, hey, I want to be validated. I want to know my efforts mean something, whether you're, just doing like streams or let's plays, or if you're making music or art or stuff like that. It's like, hey, it's fine that you do it because you love it, but there's always that monetary gain that you like. And I mean, like, would find that helpful too. Like, because outside this, I do work a full-time job, and that's maybe it's comfortable, but I could be more comfortable, especially with debt and other stuff. I'm still paying off a student loan, Because I've been a long time since I talked about this on a channel that no one's listening to, but when you go to a video game design school uh, that's based off a commercial you saw on G4 TV back in the day, that may not be the best uh, choice when it comes to higher education. So still paying off a little bit student loans and other stuff too. And sometimes I'll wish things were a little bit nicer, a little bit more comfortable, um, especially with my pets too. Like, got some medical issues with my dog that I'm dealing with. I'm kind of concerned about too in terms of affording testing and all that. Not to get too personal, but some like if things were a little bit more comfortable, especially when you see other creators like Flex or all that. It's kind of like I don't know. You want to like judge too hardly, but you see like almost like nothing creators, very low effort and like huge success. And like why do people like this guy or whatever? But yeah, that's kind of like my little thoughts, and maybe it might be relatable to anyone about making content. I say just make it. Put some effort to it. Like over time, I added stuff to like thumbnails and um, all that. But I just gotta get into the mode of like writing out scripts and record stuff too. Just because it's a struggle. Like, is it gonna be any good? And I'm gonna put like 2 hours recording stuff just to cut out most of it because I'm bad with talking. I don't know that, but yeah, there's some ideas and thoughts I want to talk about. So the next thing I want to talk about is Twitch. And some of this is old news since I, been on vacation, took a little break and all that. Is that there's the update on the whole Twitch nudity thing. And I felt like it was back and forth for a while. You had like the whatever meta where like girls were like topless, but they weren't showing anything, but they're showing enough so you get the idea whether they were actually nude or not. But yeah, I guess the last update is that they included implied nudity, that that's not allowed. And when I saw it, I was like, that was the main thing. Like, you should have said it in the first place. That was the main source of confusion. That's why people are doing these meta, like topless things, or they did like the censor bars, where they be like edited in the Streamlabs or physical bars that they had on them to block the nudity, even if they did had something underneath technically and didn't show anything. But it's like, thank God. Um, I don't know. Maybe I try not to be too much of a prude, but it's like turning into a thing like, is Twitch becoming a porn site and all that? And part of maybe it's a little bit of jealousy because there's a lot, women with, the bodies for it, and they have people like donating, subbing, all that. So, uh, getting monetary gain for the body, which uh, go for it if that's your thing. But I feel like Twitch isn't the appropriate outlet. Like, there's OnlyFans, there's a bunch of other websites too. So it's I don't know. I don't have too much power to say much, or if my opinions really matter. But it's sort of like mentally like separate that thing. Like, when I go on Facebook, I don't want to see porn. When I was gonna say Twitter X, but you see some of those accounts too. But like YouTube, you don't go to YouTube for porn. There's other sites too. And when it comes like nudity and all that too, so I feel like that's a win for Twitch. Um, but it's like really iffy. I know Twitch always has the complaints and all that and backlash, and I think a lot of it is to please advertisers because that's where a lot of money comes from. I'm not sure how much Twitch makes from like subs and stuff like that, but a lot of times it's like pleasing the advertisers. That's like why TV shows get censored or edited so much. Like, you can't show that on TV or say that or all that. Like, I remember back in the day, you can't even say like shit or all that. I think you can there's some nudity. It just depends on the channel, especially if it's like a cable, like premium cable, then more things are allowed. But yeah, a lot of things like back in the day, like in the 90s, a lot of things were edited. Censors review that before finalizing the shows because, like, hey, we want advertisers to be happy and all that because that's where a lot of money coming from. So it's not like I'm sure Twitch, cared about the community and all that too when it comes to the viewers because I know the minimum age is 13 years old. But a lot of times, like, hey, ad money talks, ad money has that power to, sway those kind of decisions and whether it be like policies with Twitch and stuff like that. So I think that's been died down. I know it's not the most recent news, but it's like, 'cause I know they're like, oh, we can allow artistic nudity and stuff like that, or um, they really, I don't know, it was like really iffy. Like you feel like they had to address it because it was getting out of control. But they didn't quite fully address it as clearly. But like, it's like nudity. If they would have said that like in the very beginning, that would have like uh, stopped a lot of this backlash and stuff like that too. But yeah, we'll see. I know a lot of people, are leaving platforms or just like retiring. I'm not sure with Twitch. I know I heard like some stuff with YouTubers and stuff like that too. Um, but sometimes like if people like get frustrated and leave, then maybe that makes room for more smaller fish like me. I think I'm more like a plankton than a small fish, but we'll see. But I also know there was I'm not sure if it was like a stream or just a video of the CEO of Twitch talking how Twitch is not making a profit, and I think it's like they haven't made a profit. I'm not sure if it ever did, but that was before Amazon acquired it and stuff like that too, because it does make a lot of money, like a shit ton of money, especially with advertising. So I'm wondering like what really happens to cause that issue that they're in the red or they're not making a profit and all that because they are making money. They just like I don't know what's going on. I think a lot of times like American business, like they overpay CEOs and um, high executives and stuff like that, like board members or whatever. I don't know too much about Twitch, but I know he like mentioned like some well a couple hundred maybe workers were being laid off too, so that sucks. I remember seeing way back. In the Wii U, when Nintendo had one of the worst financial years ever, that the higher ups took pay cuts, so they had to fire anyone. But we would never ever see that in the U.S. with any U.S. based company. Right, other countries too, European or um, what have you. But I feel like, hey, if we need to cut costs or something like, let's cut employees and lay them off versus, hey, do I need an extra 100,000? Dollar bonus or extra $1 million bonus. I'm not sure how much they get paid, but I feel like it's so ridiculously high that they can definitely afford to get paid less. That means to make sure other employees can stay on and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe they can make a really bad decision with operations and stuff like that because it feels like which should be able to easily make money, to easily make profit. But I just know that this. I'm like an idiot too, so I don't know too much about this or that. But it just crazy to hear with how well known Twitch is. And like big creators on the platform. A lot of them moving to other things like Kick and stuff like that too. But I remember I didn't really watch the video, but like the CEO was also talking about contracts. And I think they're gonna like stop doing that. It's like, oh, we got a contract with Ninja to be on Twitch for paying for $100 million or I don't kick that a lot too. And all those were like very extravagant and very high dollar. I'm not sure if there's like much of a return on that. So it always kind of seems bizarre, but uh, I think also because this whole streaming thing is still relatively new, even though it's been around for a good while, it's still kind of new versus other forms of entertainment and industries like television or music or sports, professional sports. The contract for a streamer, like it's like being treated like for an professional athlete or a music artist and stuff like that. Like, not, I don't know. I just feel like you can't get the return. And it's like it's new and like it's hemorrhaging money doing all this, like trying to get talent and foster the talent, or at least hold on to that. But I think there's a lot of things that people don't know what they're doing. But again, I'm just an idiot who doesn't know too much. So the next thing I want to talk about is with videos on X or X videos. I'm talking about the Twitter website. There's other X videos out there, but they're not the same thing. So it's I know it's been like I'm not sure if you even call it a meme at this point, but it's kind of like you see how like Elon Musk wants to promote or like get more people to upload videos on X, almost like how it replaced YouTube or be the new YouTube, more platform for creators to upload actual videos. And it's always been kind of scoffed at. I know it's kind of annoying too because you see like him promote stuff like Tucker Carlson or other stuff too. It's like, okay, you got to promote stuff that aligns with your beliefs and stuff like that too, which kind of like, eh. And there's also like criticism about making money on X. I know you can also make money off your posts, your tweets. stuff like that. And people say you really don't get much, and it seems like even with videos, you won't get much. I know Mr. Beast was saying like with how much cost goes into his video, how much he donates, and his humanitarian or whatever uh, efforts. That costs a lot of money. So YouTube um, helps recover this cost and helps him keep doing it and all that stuff too. So that's saying like, hey, why post a video on X when YouTube would be more of the ideal platform, especially if you need a monetary return, where that helps fund the channel in the future and future endeavors and projects and all that. And then I guess, well, I guess, but she's end up uploading a video on X, but it was just like a re-upload to an older video, just to kind of test it out. So we'll see. It feels like Elon Musk just wanted to stroke his ego, and have like, hey, we had the new everything platform and stuff like that too. This is other stuff I heard about, um, like money wallet stuff, or there's also streaming, which we're talking about too. But we'll see how that works because like it would also show like, hey, uh, Mr. Beast uploaded this video and it made like a fraction, a tiny bit of what it made on YouTube. But it's also a lot of variables like, hey, it's old content, so it's nothing new. Especially with how much views he get, it's possibly already been seen by millions. So why watch it on X if it's already been seen and all that? And then there's also like the idea of like, hey, what if Elon Musk like inflates it? It's like gives him so much money, even though it didn't like earn that in terms of like a typical video performance. I kind of bloated just like, hey, you made all this money on by uploading your video to X, so you should do it more, Mr. Beast. So we'll see. It's also that issue, like if it does do that, would others notice, like say, hey, like in my video didn't make that much money. Um, but then again, I think with Mr. Beast and his content, it's hard to replicate the success of it in terms of like views and watch time, which is kind of always iffy with uh, X, like how Mike's like his video got millions of views and stuff like that, but like I bet a lot of the views is someone like scrolling down and it auto plays and is like skip it, like don't even watch like a few seconds of it. So I think it's not as accurate as, hey, this is good content. Like maybe a lot of people notice it, but people may not even be watching it or ignoring it and all that. And I feel like it's going to be very hard for X to compete with YouTube, just the format of the platform. Because with YouTube, it's like, hey, these are channels, like they have a library of video, um, even playlists, versus X is being more like a timeline, like a feed. So it's kind of hard to like go back to, like if you follow an account, to like go back to rewatch old videos, which you see a lot on YouTube's. And with YouTube, you have the occasional, I say occasional, but it happens a lot too. Like old videos be like recommended to you that like uploaded 3, 4, even older, based on what you've been watching. So you may have old content that gets rewatched or has spikes. You set times to like the videos based off like a video game and or a series or a property or stuff like that. Did some research and that video gets a big boost. So I don't quite see that happen with X. 'Cause I don't think it's ever really been about old content. So it's like, hey, this is the latest thing that this account posts versus YouTube. Like there's a lot of times like I discover channel like, hey, I want to look at the backlog. Like for example, account called Totally Not Mark. I've been going through his backlog a lot. Like, oh, he talked about this series. I'm focused on manga, anime, basically. Like, oh, I want to see his review on these arcs, chapters, whatever. So I've been doing that to see like a lot of old, a lot of his content. Even Scott the Woz, I've been kind of getting in. Well, kind of, I have. I've been watching a lot of his old content, his backlog from 2, 3 years ago, and I feel like those kind of creators that they were just on X, you don't have that benefit of like, hey, if someone discovers you, not gonna go back with all your old videos just because X is really bad at looking at old posts. Unless they did like something to like replicate the YouTube channel pages, like, add a X page for all accounts, but it'd be like way too much effort. But I just think don't see X doing that just because I think it'd be like a whole overhaul, but it's just like really hard to see old content or like because a lot of times, like planting seeds, like I upload a video, maybe you do really successful when it's released, but maybe 2 or 3 years later, it gets resurgent, a spike in views. Like, hey, I'm getting more from that video. which on YouTube, yeah, it's awesome, but on X, that may not even happen because just how X works. And also that thing about streaming, it seems like X, he wants to make X the next Twitch or Twitter, which I don't know. I don't see that happening again. It would have to like update, overhaul to make things. I've never even watched. I know like much like um stream. I think Diablo, the new Diablo game, and maybe Baldur's Gate. I haven't. I don't even pay attention. Besides hearing that he streamed, but it's like I'm not sure if it's going to replicate like Twitch or YouTube with the live streams as well. But it just feels like it would have to really overhaul in terms of like being able to come across, discover that content, watch it, engage with it, all that. So I don't know. And you also hear things like the value of X, Twitter, dropped dramatically since Elon bought it. Um, but then with cost, but then he's wanting to push this and that and all that. So who knows? But I just don't see X being the everything platform. Just because I don't think that's feasible. Um, with being like the traditional social media and timelines versus like having channels and backlogs and playlists and this and that, like clips and stuff like that too. So I think it's because it wasn't designed to be a video site. I just don't see it really doing like uh, having much success with replicating what YouTube and Twitch and Kick does. That's just my thoughts. Let me know what you think. And the last thing I want to talk about in this podcast is that Verbalase music video. I'm not the first one to talk about it, and I don't have too much more opinions about it, but there's the music video with his character, I think it's pretty much based off him, but his character being chased by Charlie from Hasbin Hotel. And yeah, the video is kind of like he's being chased and then kind of like, well, I'm not sure how YouTube will appreciate the words, but I'm just going to say SA. Like it's real like her chasing him obsessively, trying to get him in bed and stuff like that too. It sounds very cringy in the first place. But yeah, Verbalase is that cartoon beatbox guy, which I never really followed his content. I was aware of it a little bit and seen like maybe like poster clips. I knew the Thanos one. I was Thanos beatboxing and stuff like that too. Which I feel like it's decent content. It actually looks well animated for those kind of things. I just never really dive into it. Um, but a big thing about this like recent music video is that it cost him $50,000, and that's a lot. And it's like been a lot of like confusion, I guess, and like uncertainties, like what's really true. Really spend that much money, and it seems like it was never intended to be uploaded to the his channel, like for a more personal thing. Which that the big thing I've been hearing is that that's a lot of money for like a 3 minute music video, and especially if you're not gonna like use it to make a profit or all that. And yeah, let's see. I'm not sure if it's like a passion project, but I'm not sure. I forget the song at the moment, but it's like one of those songs that are out there and they like take it and they put it to a music video. And I guess it doesn't look too bad, but it's just not my thing. But yeah, it's like wow, that's a lot of money. Like I've seen some people like post like, wow, imagine if I had that much money for a music video or in general. It's like too, and I guess there's been some decline with his channel. Um, Saber Spark, that channel did a really good video talking about the subject and all that. 'Cause I guess it's also like stuff like coming from Discord or the Discord uh, server, whatever, for his channel, whatever. I don't use Discord that much. I don't really know too much, but like I guess the thing was like a lot of those episodes were taking 20 to 30K. Well, that seems a lot too for that kind of content, but I don't know. I'm not like a big channel as well, so it just seems very excessive. Whether that's a bad planning, overpaying, and all that. And also with this whole like, I don't know if you call it controversy or just like this craziness. But I just realized that guy, how old that guy is. And I guess he's over 40. Makes it even more cringe. They had his character being chased by someone from Hasbin Hotel, which I believe I know the series is like just dropped or something. But I guess she's a lesbian. That makes it even more funnier. And also, there's also been some backlash with some of his things that this guy said. Here's his name. I just go Verbalase. Is like his online handle or whatever. it said a lot of like transphobic things. I think even like anti-gay things. Um, I'm just gonna say allegedly because I don't know. Besides seeing a couple of things that but yeah, this like really weird. And also like from Saberspark's video, down if you make a video, trying to get our animators to animate for him, and like mentioning how bad the channel's doing, like in terms of views and stuff like that too. So it's kind of like one of those pity, like, hey, we're not making enough money, stuff like that too. Um, and then like he was gonna make. I'm not sure if it was ever made, but he was gonna like, have all the animators like have him do 10 seconds of animation, and the top nine um, are featured in that video. And the winner wins the prize, and that prize is actually a plushie of him that he autographs. Sure, someone has to comment below or something like that. Like if that contest actually got finished, if it actually came out with a video, if someone actually won that plushie. Because like, oh, the other eight people who didn't win the top prize just get exposure, and the idea of getting paid with exposure is like really lame, and especially with all the artists and talent and stuff like that too. Uh, but yeah, just I thought that was kind of like really weird and bizarre and funny and stuff like that too, with how much was spent. Uh, again, I'm not sure how much is true because I think if the budget was like $50,000, like maybe that went towards music licensing and stuff like that too, but it was more for like personal use or personal thing, and it was never uploaded to his main channel and stuff like that too. It's like, did he really pay for music rights? Because I don't see. Uh, I know maybe that could been a big cost, and it was like also some speculation or just like talk about the animator was like 15 years old. It was just, like really like a lot for just one person in general, let alone a 15 years old. So I'm not sure if it was animated by a team. Even some people like kind of criticizing like it seems like they did a lot of tracing, like it seems like they just pretty much traced Charlie's character from the Husband Hotel pilot. It's funny timing. It was intentional that got leaked and stuff like that too with the premiere of the Husband Hotel series on Amazon Prime. It's like, wow, that's a lot of money. Like, I kind of wish I had that. But yeah, definitely probably not the most insightful person to talk about it. But again, I don't want to be like, because I'm not, it's not like, hey, check out this other channel we talked about at Saberspark. Maybe you've heard of them, because most likely you never heard of me. And I'm just like some small, tiny, I'd say small fish, but more like a little, like floating in this giant pond of YouTubers. But oh well. That'll do it for this podcast. So again, let me know in the comments, what you thought about what I talked about, what any recommendations, especially with the gaming stuff too, in terms of streams. I do want to get back to doing more like reviews and commentary, or just like video, maybe more like kind of video essays, commentary, same thing. I've had a lot of like ideas. I just haven't had that motivation. And part of it, like, hey, if I put this out, is going to be like lame, um, especially with how I talk and how I articulate my ideas and thoughts, or just my setup in general, like with my microphone. Um, I don't know. It just feels like, hey, it's not that great. Uh, kind of wish I had more. Even I guess you could say support, or more like, hey, maybe you should try this, or hey, I noticed this, but then no one is like, oh, you're just fucking up so much with your recordings and your this and that, whether it be like the shorts I put out or streams I record, stream, and then upload here. But yeah, I think that'll do it for today. So I might do another podcast. I kind of bit more sporadic just because it kind of more human consciousness, especially since it's solo. And not really much going on, but maybe one day have more of a community, more of a structure to it, to do kind of more like a community show, or whatever. It's a stuff or whatever podcast. That's kind of the basis of it. But anyways, for those who listened this far, thanks so much. You all take care and have a good rest of your day. Bye.